Assalamu alaikum guys, I am ARK, and in this video we will be studying about forms in HTML, that means taking input from user in HTML. So let's get started. Let me just make the file as form.html, and we have almost completed every core concept in HTML, and we are only left with input. It is fairly vast topic, but we will cover it however. So let us write input in HTML, and let us also give a heading input in HTML. So HTML has a form element to add semantic importance to the form. So by the use of form element, we can specify to our browser that we are starting form. We will study about action later, and we will also study about method later. Presently we are just considering structure of the form, just making the structure of the form using plain HTML. We can't go into detail about form and method. This video will only focus on the breakdown of input field, means how can we add input fields to our web page, and what are the attributes we can use, what are the general attributes we can use with almost every input field. We will also see some special kinds of input fields, like apart from text, like choosing files, radio buttons, checkboxes, but in the next video. In this video we'll be only seeing the breakdown of all the attributes we can use, generic attributes. In order to add an input field, we need to add an input. So by default the input will be text. Let's save it and see how it looks. So you can see we got an input field here. We can type in it, and if we want to label this input field, then we have a label tag. And in the label tag, the for attribute is to specify to which element this label relates to. That means which element this label points to. So this is for username, and between the closing tag and ending tag of label element, we will add what to display on the screen, like username. And this type attribute will be specifying what type of data we want the user to input in this particular input field. This is, in this video we will only be seeing text. In the next video we will be seeing different formats of data we can take input. So let's see how it looks now. So you can see the label is added, that means username, and the user is supposed to enter the username in the text format. Now in order to recognize this particular input field and get the value from it on the server, we will add a name attribute to it just to identify it. So we will give name as username. Okay, so this is not for CSS, this is not for applying any styling. For styling we will use ID or class, but this is for recognizing the particular input field. This won't affect our input field in appearance, but it is important. It is important for it to be get recognized on server. So after this we can also add max length and minimum length to our input field. Like if I specify max length as 10 characters, then I won't be able to type more than 10 characters after I specify it. And similarly we also have a minimum length, like min length is 5 characters. So if I try to submit 3 characters, it will prompt me that minimum you need to use 5 characters and you are currently using 3. And instead of giving label, we can also use a placeholder attribute, which will specify what the input field is for in the input field itself, but in a faded manner. We will see placeholder, and placeholder will be username. So you can see we are getting username here in a light color. As soon as we start typing, it will be vanished. And we also have a value attribute in order to give a default value to our input field. Like if we know the username of a user, then we will just write the username in the value attribute, so it will be already filled And we also have read-only and disabled attributes to further add control to our input field. Read-only attributes make it just read-only. We can't edit the value. You can see we are not able to edit the value. And disabled attributes disable the particular input field. Disabled. You can see we are still not able to do it. And we also have an autofocus attribute. So you can see it is not focused on that particular field. If I click it, then it will be focused. Then I can change it. But what autofocus attribute does is, whenever we add autofocus to some input field, it will be automatically focused when we reload the page or when we load the page, whatever. So these were all about single line text input. Let's see multi-line text input. Now in order to add a multi-line input to our web page, we have a special tag actually known as text area, and we can specify its name as paragraph or para id to stylize it. I'll give para again, and columns are by default set to 30 and rows are set to 10. That means we can add 10 lines and 30 words. Basically it means that. So let us save it and see. So you can see we got a huge text area where we can add multi-line inputs. Let us get our label tag for paragraph. So you can see we got the label. Let us add a BR tag. So whatever. This way we can add multi-line input to our HTML document. We have to specify rows in our rows attribute and columns in our calls attribute, the number of rows and columns we need. And all the standard attributes will work, like placeholder. Let's try placeholder. Para. So you can see para is written. So that is it for the video, guys. I hope you have understood how we control input fields in HTML, and I hope you have understood all the attributes which I have explained in this video thoroughly. We will get to know what are the different types of data we can use in an HTML input field. So stay tuned for that. See you in the next one.